Okay, hello and welcome everyone to this webinar session for ACCA Performance Management exam. So as we have told you, the objectives of these webinars is to have a discussion on past exam questions so that you can get an idea by solving past exam questions with the teacher. So I have solved many past exam questions in my previous webinars. Now we are going to do in today's session a question on performance measurement. Okay, that section E, it's a question which is coming every time in section C, constructed response questions. So let's start. This is from March-June 2021 attempt. Again, you know how the question seems like it's an instruction screen. Then there is question number 1 called medical temp company, MTC. We have already discussed this question in our previous webinars. Okay. This was, I think, for variances as far as I remember. Yes, this was a market size, market share variance. We've already done it. Now we will be doing a question called MEDCOMP company. That's from March-June 2021 attempt. So you can have the question downloaded from ACCA website, or if you want, I can share the file with you as well. Okay, so let's start discussing the question. The question states, MEDCOMP company is a okay, so the question states MEDCOMP company is a charity. This is a very important part of the question that before starting the question, you must know either the question is of a commercial organization, either the question is of a not-for-profit organization, either the question is of a division. So now it states MEDCOMP is a charity, not-for-profit organization based in Sealand. It provides medical treatment to prevent and cure blindness caused by cataracts, and thousands of people use in less developed countries. In our Pakistan, in our country, this cataract is basically called a motia. Okay, and people who are familiar with Urdu language, they know this, that this is a very common problem in aged people, motia. This is called cataract. So MEDCOMP is a charity based in Sealand. It provides medical treatment to prevent and cure blindness caused by cataracts to thousands of people in less developed countries. It is only focusing on less developed countries. This disease is relatively easy to cure when treatment is available, but the majority of people who need treatment cannot afford to pay for it. For over 10 years, MEDCOMP has provided free treatment from 12 treatment centers based in fixed locations worldwide. So it states MEDCOMP is a charity based in Sealand. It provides medical treatment to prevent, cure, and blindness caused by cataracts to thousands of people in less developed countries. The disease is relatively easy to cure when treatment is available, but the majority of people who need treatment cannot afford to pay for it. For over 10 years, MEDCOMP has provided free treatment from 12 treatment centers based in fixed locations worldwide. Okay. MEDCOMP employs a small number of paid permanent staff who consist of medical practitioners, medical administrators, and fundraisers, but the majority of its workforce is voluntary. Obviously, it's a charity, so in charities, usually people work voluntarily without the expectation of any money. So this charity has a small number of paid staff, medical practitioners, administrators, fundraisers. Majority of workforce is voluntary. Charity has built relationships with several teaching hospitals in Sealand, from where it recruits new qualified doctors and nurses. These doctors and nurses volunteer to work unpaid for a year in MEDCOM's treatment centers before returning home to work in Sealand's many hospitals. MEDCOMP believes that using newly qualified medical staff will promote the use of most effective and up-to-date techniques and procedures. So the structure is that where do these staff come from? So they have built relationship with several teaching hospitals, from where it recruits newly qualified doctors and nurses. These doctors and nurses volunteer that they will work unpaid for a year, but then they will return to Sealand hospitals. Okay, and the belief is that when you use the newly qualified staff, they have the information of up-to-date techniques. Financial donations are sourced from large businesses in Sealand, and most of the equipment and other medical supplies needed are donated by hospitals and manufacturers. Thus, it is rare for the treatment centers to run short of supplies. Okay, the system is strong. Financial donations come from large businesses. Equipment and other medical supplies are donated by hospitals and manufacturers. So it is rare that we will be short of supplies. MEDCOMP keeps accounts with the year end of 31st August, as well as the detailed operating data. Data extract from its management accounts for the current year and from 2007 and 6 are as follows. Their year end is 31st August. They make accounts till 31st August, and till 31st August, the data is given for 2008, 2007, 2006. So average size of donation. The size of donation in 2006 was 500, then 535, and now it's 600. Number of donations were 2950, 3000, and now fell to 2850. So this is the size of donation. That was the average size, that if I'm giving $10, the size of donation is $10. If one person is paying $500, size of donation is 500. So average size of donation is 500, 535, 600, and the number of donations you can multiply to get the total revenue or funds. Operating costs are 1430, 1550, 1730. New procedures as a percentage of total procedures. What are the new procedures percentage? New procedure percentage are 5%, 5%, and 20%. What does this mean by new procedures? So note, new procedures are procedures which are introduced within a year. What new facilities, new procedures, new products we are introducing? Like company introduces new products every year. So they have introduced new procedures within a year. 5% of the new procedures represent total procedures percentage. In 2007, also the new procedures were just 5%. But I think in 2008, we have introduced 20% approximately new procedures. Number of treatments, 4,600, 5,000, 5,600. Successful treatments, 4,002, 4,300, 4,312. This is the number of treatments and the successful treatments. Obviously, every treatment doesn't go successful. Every heart operation doesn't go successful. So this treatment also doesn't go successful. So you have the number of treatments and the successful ones. You can find the success rate. Average number of days taken to deliver drugs and equipment to treatment centers. Number of days taken to deliver drugs and equipment to treatment centers. How long does it take to deliver drugs and equipment? 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. Okay. MEDCOMP is about to introduce a balanced scorecard to help implement its strategy and measure performance. So it is introducing a balanced scorecard. The critical success factors. Critical success factors means those factors which are critical for success. Without that, you cannot be successful. Like for an educational institution, the critical success factor is the teaching quality and results. Without good teaching quality and results, you can't run. The critical success factor for a restaurant may be taste. That without taste, it cannot survive. So the critical success factors, which relate to the 4 perspectives of balanced scorecard, have been identified as positive cash flows, innovation, medical effectiveness, and functional efficiency. So they have identified the critical success factors which relate to 4 perspectives of the balanced scorecard. One critical success factor, they think that to enable success of this company, they must have positive cash flow, they must have innovation, they must have effectiveness and efficiency. Let's see if there is any other data. Okay, that's it. Very small data. The requirement is worth 16 marks. For each perspective of the balanced scorecard. Now there are 4 perspectives of balanced scorecard, right? So for each perspective of the balanced scorecard, select the appropriate critical success factor, select the appropriate CSF which relates to the perspective. There are 4 critical success factors mentioned, but it is saying that for each perspective, select the appropriate CSF. You need to select which relates to financial, which relates to customer, which relates to business efficiency, internal business, and which relates to innovation learning. So for each perspective, select the appropriate CSF. Suggest one key performance indicator which will help to measure that CSF, and use the KPI to analyze MEDCOMP performance from 2006 to 2008. So for each perspective, there are 4 perspectives, select the appropriate CSF. Remember there are 4 CSFs given, so select the appropriate one. Then suggest one indicator which will help to measure that CSF. Like if I say my critical success factor is profit, so suggest one indicator which will help to measure whether profit is being achieved or not. I will say my critical success factor is good pass rates. So suggest one indicator, KPI is indicator, which will help to measure the results, and use that KPI to analyze MEDCOMP's performance. Note, use the balanced scorecard template provided below to structure your answer. Now a template is given, and through that we need to structure our answer. So see, financial, customer, internal business, and innovation, learning, and growth. These are the 4 perspectives of balanced scorecard. So for each perspective, use this template. You have to select an appropriate critical success factor. Out of the 4, you have to select an appropriate critical success factor, which relates to which. This can be copied from the question because there are 4 critical success factors given. For each perspective, you need to select the appropriate CSF. This is a copy paste job. But then your work starts, then you have to identify an indicator which will help you to measure that CSF. And then you need to analyze the performance through financial, customer, internal business, and innovation learning for these 4 indicators. This, you might have understood that the performance measurement questions are not something that you can rote learn. It's just analysis from the scenario. So once you have analysis from the scenario, you can easily do it, and you must have a sound general knowledge. Okay, like the part B seems very easy, 4 marks. Explain the benefits of using balanced scorecard instead of financial. So I will write the 4 benefits of balanced scorecard and finish it. But the 16-mark part looks a very important one. And if you know how to analyze and draft, it's very easy for you. So I need to read the scenario again for this. MEDCOMP is a charity based in Zealand. Okay, MEDCOMP is a charity. It provides medical treatment to prevent and cure blindness caused by cataracts to thousands of people in less developed countries. Disease is relatively easy to cure when medical treatment is available, but the majority of people who need treatment cannot afford. For over 10 years, MEDCOMP provides free treatment from 12 treatment centers in locations worldwide. This paragraph was what this company was doing. It's a charity, provides medical treatment of cataracts, 12 locations worldwide. Then MEDCOMP employs a small number of paid staff who consist of practitioners, administrators, fundraisers. Majority of workforce is voluntary. And how do they get the workforce? They have contracts with teaching hospitals. It recruits newly qualified doctors who volunteer to work unpaid for a year. And when they work unpaid, this helps the organization charity because the cost is not there. And then they go back to teach in one of the teaching hospitals. And new qualified staff are more up to date. Financial donations are sourced from a large business in Zealand. Okay, they get donations from Zealand. Most of the equipment and other supplies are donated to hospitals. So there is no shortage of supplies. It keeps accounts 31st August and data is given for 2006, 7, and 8. Size of donation, what is the average size per donation, then number of donations, operating cost, and new procedures, number of treatments performed, successful treatments, number of days to deliver drugs, new procedures introduced within a year, And MEDCOMP is about to introduce a balanced scorecard to help implement the strategy. Critical success factors which relate to 4 perspectives are positive cash flows, innovation, medical effectiveness, and efficiency. It hasn't said which perspective relates to which critical success factor, but it has identified 4 critical success factors as positive cash inflow, innovation, effectiveness, and efficiency. This is the information. And you have been given that for each perspective, select the appropriate CSF, suggest one key performance indicator to measure CSF, and use the KPI to assess performance from 2006 to 2008. You don't have to assess performance just for 2008 or 2006 to 2008, and you have to use the template which will be provided in the exam. Okay. Okay, so you have to use the template, and in the template, you have to obviously write the answers. So you have understood the nature of the question, that for each perspective, select the appropriate CSF. First job is this. Then one key performance indicator, which will measure that CSF, and use that KPI to analyze MEDCOMP performance. So everything in performance measurement is usually gathered from the question. Now there are 4 perspectives, right? So critical success factors which relate to these 4 perspectives are positive cash flow, innovation, medical effectiveness, functional efficiency. Now there are 4 perspectives of balanced scorecard: financial, customer, internal business, and innovation, learning, and growth. So critical success factors which relate to these are positive cash flows, innovation, medical effectiveness, and functional efficiency. The first part of the question, for each perspective, identify the relevant critical success factors. So what do you think out of these 4? What would be the relevant critical success factor for financial? Obviously, among all these 4, for financial, it has to be positive cash flow. Okay. For innovation, learning, growth, it has to be innovation. Okay. For internal business perspective, it has to be functional efficiency. Okay. And for customer, it has to be medical effectiveness. Now, it was not difficult to judge all these 4, because obviously among all these 4 perspectives, the critical success factor for financial has to be positive cash flows. For innovation, learning, growth, it has to be innovation. Internal business usually relates to process efficiency, and customer is left with medical effectiveness. Okay. Now let's just discuss this answer. That you have to use this template provided. So the requirement is, for each perspective, select the appropriate critical success factor. So critical success factor for financial, we have written positive cash flow. Okay. Critical success factor for obviously learning and growth is innovation. For internal business, it relates to functional efficiency. And for customer, it's medical effectiveness. So we have done the first job, that for each perspective, we have identified a relevant what you call it, relevant critical success factor, but that was not something what we have done as something big, because this was all given in the question. Okay. Okay. Now, once you've got the CSF, critical success factor, what is the next job? For each perspective of the balanced scorecard, select an appropriate critical success factor. So we have done this for each perspective. We have selected an appropriate critical success factor. This is done. Comma, suggest one indicator which will help to measure the CSF. Now, one indicator which helps you to measure the CSF. Okay. So CSF, critical success factor for financial, is positive cash flow. Find from the question, what is the indicator which will use to measure this positive cash flow? See the data of the question. This is the data of the question. The critical success factor for financial is positive cash flow. What would be the indicator through which you will measure whether positive cash flow is being received or not? A simple indicator for positive cash inflow is whether we are generating positive cash inflow or not. And how do we get positive cash inflow? The positive cash flow, sorry. So positive cash flow is inflows, donations, less outflows, costs. This will be the positive cash flow. There is no other method to find the positive cash flow. So finding positive cash flow will tell you whether the critical success factor, this will help to measure the positive cash flow. Okay. So some things are very easy. You have written that critical success factor for financial is positive cash flow. So what will be the indicator to measure the CSF, to measure positive cash flow? Inflow, donation, less outflow. Okay. What will be the indicator to measure innovation? Your critical success factor for learning growth is innovation. How will you see whether you are getting innovation or not? Simple. Indicator to measure innovation is from the data. No new procedures as a percentage of total. New procedures as a percentage of total. That's what the data states. That for innovation, it's new procedures as a percentage of total. Now I'm just focusing on two heads at the moment, and I will then focus on the remaining two heads. At the moment, I am focusing on innovation, learning growth, and financial. So I'm going back to the data. If you say that critical success factor for financial is positive cash inflow, this was not my thing. It mentioned 4 critical success factors and selected that financial critical success factor is positive cash flow. Then to measure positive cash flow, whether it's positive cash flow or not, we need to see the indicator, whether positive cash flow is being generated or not. Okay. Now, similarly, for innovation, learning growth, the critical success factor out of all these 4 was innovation. And to measure innovation, number of new treatments, new procedures as a percentage of total. Okay. Now, the third job which you have to do in this template, performance analysis. Suggest one key performance indicator and use that KPI. Use this KPI to analyze performance from 2006 to 2008. Okay. Now, use performance from 2006 to 2008. So let's focus on innovation first. For perspective of innovation, the table of this, the perspective of innovation, the critical success factor was innovation, done out of all these 4. The indicator KPI to measure innovation was new procedures as a percentage of total. Now use this KPI to assess performance. Use this KPI to assess performance. Okay. From 2006 to 2008, use this KPI to assess performance. You will write, in 2006, the number of new procedures were 5% of total, suggesting 95% old. In 2007, it was also 5% new procedures. That means no new procedures were increased in 2006 and 2005. 7. But in 2008, the number of new procedures as a total came to 20%. This reflects that in 2006 and 7, the company didn't move towards innovation. But in 2008, it moved towards innovation. So it is a very good sign that company is moving towards new procedures, new methods in medical field. That's it. Okay. This gives you 4 marks for innovation, because 1 mark you selected the correct CSF innovation, 1 mark you selected the correct KPI, new procedures, and then 2 marks description that analyze the performance using this KPI. Pay attention. For financial, you said that out of these 4, the critical success factor for financial is positive cash flow. How will you measure positive cash flow? The indicator to measure positive cash flow is inflows less outflows. And then analyze performance using this KPI. The KPI is inflow less outflow. How will you assess financial? The indicator is inflow less outflow. So if you just calculate, the inflows in 2006 are 500 average size of donation multiplied by donations 2950, 1475 less the cost 1430. So the positive cash flow was 45,000. In 2007, average size of donation was 535 multiplied by donations were 3,000, 1605, and then 1550. Cost, the positive cash flow was 55,000. Whereas in 2008, 600 average size of donation into 2850 donations minus 1730,000. So it was minus 1730, 20,000 negative. So analyze performance, because you said that the critical success factor is positive cash flow. To check whether positive cash flow is being achieved or not, the indicator is inflow less outflow. Now analyze performance. In 2006, we had 45,000 cash flow positive. In 2007, it increased. But in 2008, we have a deficit. Although the size of donation has increased, but as you see, in 2008, the least number of donations were received among all 3 years. This 20,000 may not sound too bad, but certainly it should raise an alarm that the number of donations are being reduced. So company needs to revisit its strategy, that it secures donations through businesses. So whether their marketing team or their sales team is properly approaching businesses or not, otherwise this will prove to be costly for the company. Okay, now this was my analysis from 2006 to 2008. I got 4 marks in financial as well, because in 16 marks, 4 marks for financial, 4 for innovation, 1 mark the critical success factor, 1 mark the KPI, and then 2 marks for analysis. Okay, now was my analysis enough? Was my analysis enough? People made out whether my analysis was enough or not. Let's go and visit the examiner answers. Okay, see, this is the official examiner answer. What does it say? It states for financial, 1 line, the critical success factor identified for this perspective is most likely to be positive cash flow. Actually, these things are really easy, but people get panicked in these. Everything is from the question, nothing you have to do on your own. And you got 8 marks up till now as per our discussion. So it states The critical success factor for this perspective is most likely to be positive cash flow. That's what it was told. Indicator. The most appropriate indicator to measure positive cash flow is inflows less outflows. See, donations less operating costs. And then you need to do an analysis. Once you do inflows and outflows is the critical success factor, KPI. Now use this indicator to measure performance. Total donation in 2008, 7 and 6 are 17, 10, 1605 and 115. Number of donations multiplied by size of donation. And when operating costs are deducted, net cash flow, remember 20,000, negative 55,000 and 45,000. This shows that for current year, MEDCOMP is not achieving a positive cash flow. That's what I told you. However, this is a small cash deficit, does not suggest that it has problems, not a big deal. The size of donations has risen. Number of donations has fallen. This could indicate fundraisers are focused. It refers on a smaller number of more affluent business. So fundraisers need to focus. That's it. Then I talked to you about innovation. Learning and growth, fourth perspective. The critical success factor is innovation out of these four. Indicator to measure innovation is new procedures as the percentage of total procedures. Then 2 marks analysis. It is clear that MEDCOMP has made several changes to existing protocol in 2008. 1 in 5 procedures. 1 in 5 means 1 upon 5, 20%. You don't need to write the statement. You can say 20% of procedures are new and have been introduced last year. This is a clear improvement on 2007 and 2006 for new treatments. However, new treatments have not improved efficiency. We will just check about efficiency. So it's just a basic analysis. Okay. Now, let's move to the other perspectives. Now, for the internal business perspective, we told you that the critical success factor is most likely to be functional efficiency. Okay, critical success factor for internal business perspective is functional efficiency. Indicator to measure efficiency. Now, indicator to measure functional efficiency from the data is 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. That's number of days taken to deliver drugs and equipment. This is the measure of efficiency. This is the KPI indicator to measure CSF, that functional efficiency. Analysis. Analysis is that from 2006 to 2008, the number of days taken to deliver drugs and equipment remains same, neither fallen, neither improved. That means company has a very sound logistics and stable system which delivers drugs and receives drugs on time. So it is a matter of good particular performance in this area that functional efficiency is perfect. The company is not facing any delays as far as treatments are concerned. That's it. And lastly, the critical success factor for customer perspective was told as medical efficiency out of all these four. Now, KPI, indicator to measure efficiency. From the data, how will you, effectiveness. This is the critical success factor. Now, indicator. Now, how will you measure effectiveness? How will you measure effectiveness? The indicator to measure effectiveness from this data. Effectiveness can be measured by operating cost profit. Effectiveness can be measured by successful treatments from this data. Maybe percentage. Successful treatment percentage. Okay. And how will you analyze performance? Because using this KPI, it says first identify KPI and use this KPI to measure performance from 2006 to 2008. So let's have a look on successful treatment percentages in 2006 and 8. 4,002 successful treatments out of 4,600. 87%. 4,300 successful out of 5,000. 86%. And 4312 out of 5600, 77%. So as far as effectiveness is concerned, it's on a decline. Okay, as far as effectiveness is concerned, it seems to be on decline. In 2006, it was 87% successful, then 86% successful. But for this particular year, since company has particularly introduced some new procedures, so this will raise a question mark that due to new procedures, your success rate is falling. That means the new procedures are not getting successful. Your previous procedures were successful by 86, 87%, but if new procedures are not successful, this will be a problematic sign, and this may affect financials as well. Because if people and donors will see that the success rate is falling, they definitely will put their hands on your donation. So this is a thing which must be focused upon. Okay, this is a 2-mark analysis. Let's have a look at the examiner answer regarding this. See, internal business. It states that the critical success factor is efficiency. Indicator could be number of days to deliver drugs. Same analysis. This has remained at 7 days. This can be expected as the 12 treatment centers have been at the same location for many years. Logistics are well established. This measure is an average lead time, can vary on location. It can be summarized that transport costs are managed as efficiently as possible. This means 7-day lead time. Company has a good transport system. Customer, the critical success factor, medical effectiveness, best performance indicator, percentage of successful treatments, and as I told you, 77, 86, 87. As treatment is simple, a high success rate will be expected, but results show a significant deterioration. The reasons could be factors outside the control of MEDCOMP. Okay, so maybe some people will say that this is not the fault of MEDCOMP. It may be due to other factors. In commentary, you have the right to share your own views. It could also be linked to lack of efficiency of new treatments, as I told you. So whatever stance you take, just justify it. Okay, so this question seems difficult to students, but these are easy questions. And what about the part B of this question? Explain the benefits of using balanced scorecard instead of relying solely on financial measures. So it's general discussion. If you rely solely on financial measures, you get a one-side view. If you rely on non-financial, you get a full view of the company. First advantage. Okay. Financial results good doesn't mean company will be sustainable, because they represent the past data, what has happened in the past. Non-financial focus represents what will happen in the future. So give you future direction. Okay. If some outside authorities will come and test you and you're only showing them financial, they won't be satisfied. Outside authorities also need non-financial. So these points you can write. And again, you can have a look at the examiner answer. It's a very long answer compared to 4 marks, but still reading them gives you knowledge. The benefits are as follows. Not all organizations have profit or financial return. In a not-for-profit organization, objectives are based on delivering on service. Therefore, it is necessary to have measures which are not purely financial. Okay. Financial performance indicators are lagging indicators. As I told you, these are past things. Whereas non-financial, customer satisfaction, efficiency, they are leading future indicators. Okay. Third, the balanced scorecard helps align performance at all levels, not just financial level. Okay. Fourth, financial measures are easy to manipulate. Non-financial, like customer feedback, they are not easy to manipulate. So these are some points which you can write, and 1 mark per point you can get marks. So hope you enjoyed this question as well. Have a very nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.